Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dylan Lusk with the National Weather Service in Peachtree City / Atlanta, Georgia, and this is going to be your weekly weather briefing for Thursday, February 10th, 2022. All right, just a couple of highlights to start. This is going to be a pretty short briefing, which is always nice. We like to say that because that means there's not too much going on weather-wise across the area. We've got a pretty dry forecast to start. We're going to have some above average temperatures across Georgia through Saturday. With that, it's going to be pretty dry, so we'll have some fire weather concerns that we'll talk about here in a second, but nothing too serious. After that, we're going to have a cold front that's going to arrive Saturday night into Sunday. That's going to bring another shot of cooler air across the area. With that, there is a very small chance of some very light snow across portions of north and especially northwestern Georgia. We'll discuss this a little bit more as well, but we do not expect this, even if we do see some light snow, to be impactful in any way. And then after that, with that cold front moving through, we're going to have a cool start to the next week with high pressure overhead, and our next chance of precipitation after that won't be into the middle to end of next week. So here are our current conditions across the area. Just showing this because, quite frankly, it is a beautiful day across the southeast. We've got little in the way of cloud cover. Temperatures are already starting to warm up into the 50s, getting close to 60 in some areas. So if you have the chance this afternoon, definitely get out there and enjoy it. Just looking at the overall weather patterns coming up for the next 3 days, basically just using this to highlight that one, it's going to be pretty rain-free and dry across our area. Two, you can see up in the Great Plains as we go up into like Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota by say tomorrow. We do have that cold front that's going to begin to push its way down towards us, and by Saturday you can see the initial cold front is over portions of northwest Georgia, and that will push through Saturday night into Sunday. Before that though, we do have, as I mentioned earlier, a couple of end of week fire weather concerns, basically with little in the way of precip, and the air mass that is in place across the area is going to be pretty dry. So our minimum relative humidities are going to be in the 20s to low 30s over the next couple of days. We've also been drying out a little bit, but we do have recent rainfalls that have happened. So while it's getting drier, the ground is still a little moist, so that is certainly going to help limit any kind of fire danger that is out there. That said, we could meet our criteria for some fire danger statements over the next day or two, especially tomorrow and going into Saturday. And so it is possible we could see some fire danger statements get issued, especially across portions of central Georgia. All that said, these would be more in place for, say, public burning and things like that. Folks who, quote unquote, may or may not fully know what they are doing. We do expect, given these conditions that we're going to be seeing, and we already are starting to see today, numerous controlled burns by our local authorities. So if you do smell some smoke around out there, that's probably why. The next thing is that small winter weather chance that we will have Saturday night into Sunday. And so we do see there's been a couple of models here and there that have been hinting at the possibility of us being able to squeeze out some very light snow across portions of northern and northwestern Georgia Saturday night into Sunday as that cold front basically moves into our area. What has been getting put out by these models has been very light. I want to emphasize that. We're talking like anywhere from a dusting to maybe a quarter to half an inch in some places that get a little luckier. That said, the number of models that have been doing this is pretty limited, and to give you an idea of just how much variability that we are seeing in this, here is our GFS model for basically our 6Z model that ran earlier this morning. And here is what it was showing on basically late Saturday night into very early Sunday morning. And you can see there's a little bit of light snowfall here. If I go to literally the next run of that model at the exact same time, snow's gone. So there's definitely a lot of variability in this. You it's very possible that we may not even see anything up there. And going by our current forecast, which I'll show here, we only have very, very light snow across far northwestern Georgia. All of the snowfall would be on the order of a dusting to, as you can see, about a 1/10 of an inch or so. So this would be very, very light snowfall if we do see any. We're not expecting much in the way of anything with this at this time. That being said, definitely keep an eye on the forecast just in case things do change. Moving past that, we will have a cool start next week thanks to that cold front that's going to push through the area. So we're going to have high pressure that'll settle in behind that. With that colder air, with high pressure in place over the top of us, that will limit our precipitation chances. So it should be a pretty dry start to the work week. We're going to slowly basically start to warm back up through the week after that, which will get us ready for our next system, which will be basically the middle to end of next week. I'll emphasize what I'm showing here is just one run of one model, but we actually have, at least in our various models, a decent amount of consistency in showing that there is going to be some kind of rain especially towards the end of next week. Just how much we get, exactly what that ends up looking like, will it be in the form of, say, thunderstorms, or will it just be, say, a nice, rainfall or something like that, how much we're going to get, etc. All that definitely still pretty uncertain. So definitely please, stay tuned to the forecast, and we'll continue to update that as we go through the week. Just two more quick things I'll show. First is the hydrologic summary over the area. So we did have the heavier rains that moved through a couple of days ago. All of that water is pretty quickly been getting through our river systems around here. We only have a couple of places, mainly along our larger rivers like the Okmulgee, which are just barely getting into flood stages, especially as you can see down towards like Abbeville and those areas. That water is going to continue to push downstream and should be clearing out. We should be seeing most of these places. You'll see a slow rise as the water gets there and then come back down, but we're not expecting anything extreme in terms of flooding with this. Last thing I'll show is, and also plug here, is we do have actually new, much easier to read graphics for our basically our weekly, or I should say our monthly temperature outlooks and our precipitation outlooks that come from our Climate Prediction Center. So if you visit their webpage, these nice new images will be there for you to see. To give you an idea of what this is talking about, this is looking at basically 3 to 4 weeks from now. So these were issued on the 4th of February, and so they would be valid from February 19th to March 4th. And so basically it's just looking at the general trends of what we're potentially going to see on average over those 2 weeks. And so if you look on the right at, say, the temperature outlook, this would imply that there is a 60 to 70% chance that most of Georgia would see temperatures that are above average, at least compared to normal, during those 2 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean that we couldn't see, say, a strong cold front come through and it be cold for a day or two. It just means that over those 2 weeks, on average, we would expect that we're going to be basically above the average temperature for this time of year. All right, to summarize, we've got a dry forecast, at least for the first couple of days, with slightly above average temperatures across Georgia. We're going to have a couple of fire weather concerns, but nothing too serious as a result of that. We're going to have a cold front that's going to arrive Saturday night and Sunday. It's going to bring some cooler air. There is a small chance of some very light, non-impactful snow across North Georgia, especially Northwest Georgia, as a result of this. Once again, just to emphasize, very possible that we see absolutely nothing with this, but we definitely want to alert you to that possibility. Beyond that, we're going to have a cool start to the work week next week. Cool and dry, as we'll have high pressure overhead, and our next real shot at precipitation probably won't be until the middle to really more towards the end of next week. And with that, that is our weekly weather briefing. Thank you so much. If you need to connect with us, feel free to reach out via the phone number here. This briefing will go up on our briefing page shortly after it is finished. You can always check the current weather on our website, weather.gov/Atlanta. And then we have both a Twitter, Facebook. This briefing will also be up on our YouTube. We try to monitor our Twitter and Facebook when possible, though if you reach out to us privately on those channels, do know that you may or may not get a response. It just kind of depends on how busy we are at the time. And with that, thank you so much.